the madness is piling up, and you've got to protect yourselves. You've got to protect your heart and mind against it. And I'm absolutely convinced the best protection is the rosary. If God told us to walk around the building 3 times a day on our hands and said that that's what would get us to heaven, that is what would get us to heaven. And if we had to be held by the feet, it's what we'd have to do. You know, but he doesn't say that. What he does say through his mother is pray the rosary. That's it. That really is it. So and it's easier. 50 missions a day is easier than you think, and it's very strong. And I'm convinced it's an absolute antidote to the madness all around. Our Lady says it. You know, and she just protects. She's got the power to protect, the God-given power to protect, and she protects. And we put these prayers in her hands, and she can go to her son and say, my dear son, here are these souls wanting what you and I want. Please give grace. And our son will do so. He will give grace when his mother asks. And his mother will ask when she has these requests coming up from ourselves. So it's a classic answer. There's nothing new or original about the rosary, but it was given by God to St Dominic in the early 1200s or the late 1100s, right back at the best period of the church. And it's been, all of the saints ever since have recommended and used the rosary. It goes through the Mother of God. And with going through her, she's like a funnel in the top of a jerry can. The jerry can is her son, and any prayer that goes through the funnel is bound to arrive at the jerry can. You try putting gasoline in the jerry can without the funnel, it can splash all over the place. But you go through the mother, it all arrives at the son. So there's various ways of explaining the power of the rosary. That's a modern way of explaining the power of the rosary. But in any case, the important thing is to pray the rosary. The situation is not hopeless. It's going to get even more desperate, but it's up to Catholics to have the answer. And we have the answer because God is reality. He's not kidology or wishful thinking. He is reality. He is what it's about. We're meant to be going to heaven. Men, out of their pride, and the devils, out of their pride, get in the way and try to distract us and send us all off to hell. But the rosary, of course, was also humble. And humility is the great antidote to pride. And therefore, either you pray the rosary and you break down your pride, or you rebuild your pride, the rosary. Oh, that silly little thing. Out of pride you will scorn the rosary, or out of rosary you will dissolve your pride. One or the other. So it's very much to be recommended. What else? I was saying read. Read. If you don't read, if you don't keep your mind turning and thinking about what's going on, because the situation is evolving every day, and you need to keep up, so to speak. Keep up with politics a certain amount, keep up with what's going on in the church a certain amount, not keep up a certain amount, keep up enough to realize that, that Almighty God is the bottom line. He is always the bottom line, he's always going to be the bottom line. And don't get distracted by this world, which tries to persuade us in 1,000 different ways that God is no longer of any importance. And that's how the world behaves today, and that's how it tries to influence us to behave. So read in order to see how the fight for the faith is developing.